Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Hello viewers, welcome once again to my channel. For those of you that are new, you are most welcome. For those of you that are existing subscribers, you are also most welcome. So as you can see from this slide, we are doing a PowerPoint presentation and the title is Interpreting and Sketching Line Graphs. So a lot of the information that we've looked at so far would be put in diagram form known as line graph, and you would be expected to interpret that information. Before we make a start, as always, we make the plea, please like, share and subscribe to my channel, particularly the subscribe. I can't succeed without your help, so please help by asking anybody who hasn't subscribed so far to subscribe to the channel. It's a very popular topic on 11 plus, sort of almost 100% chance that you'll get some sort of question on interpreting information. So by way of introduction, you need to be able to interpret a graph, and in the situation that it is based around, you must look at what situation it is. So whether that is a car, a rocket or football match, you have got to think about that. Okay, so we're going to look at various situations, and I'm going to be pausing a lot because I want you to think about it. So we're here, we have a graph with two variables, time and brightness. So where the axis that time is on, that is known as the x-axis, and the other is called a y-axis. So what do you make of this red line? What do you think it is showing given the two variables, brightness and time? So I'm going to give you 5 seconds to freeze and have a think about it and write something down, what you think this graph is showing. Okay, so I'm about to reveal. So this graph shows the brightness of a light, and the brightness of the light increases over time. So that is the observation that you would make, and you would get full marks if you wrote something along those lines. So that is what we're going to be doing on almost every slide in this presentation. I'll be stopping every time because I've illustrated all my examples with a diagram. So we've not put any numbers on, but in the exam, of course, you will be given some numbers and you could quote a few of them. So here's another one. So as you can see, the two variables are time on the x-axis and speed on the y-axis. So what statement could you make on looking at this diagram, given that it's got time and speed as variables? So I'll give you 5 seconds. Okay, so I hope you wrote something down. So it's along the same lines really, except we're changing the brightness with speed. The speed of a car is increasing over time. Okay, so that's what we will be doing in this presentation, looking at various examples. Okay, so this graph shows the speed of a car. So to describe it, you need to really go through a certain thought process, or write some ideas down and then come up with a final statement. So I've come up with them as well. They might not be the best, you might think of better ones hopefully, but they're what I wrote down. So looking at this, my thought would be the car speeds up, it speeds up at the same rate and the straight line. Okay, so that almost sort of is like the final answer really, but we'll write some more thoughts down. It started from nothing, so it starts from 0 and it increased gradually. Okay, and the final statement that I've come up with: a car speeds up at a constant rate from an initial speed of 0. So in my opinion, that tells the examiner that you have fully understood this diagram, because it speeds up at a constant rate. That is the key thing, and the other thing that clinches it is the speed of 0. In this statement you've shown, or I think I have shown the examiner exactly what it is. So it starts at 0 and it rises constantly. Okay, so do you want to think of the thought process and come up with a statement at the end? See if you come up same as me. So I'll give you 5 seconds. Okay, so here are the thoughts that I wrote down, that what's happening here. So the car speeds up, that clearly shows in the red line. It speeds up at the same rate, so again it's a straight line. It was already moving to begin with. Okay, so if you look at the speed axis, the red line starts a little bit further up. As I say, I haven't drawn a scale to any of these, so perhaps that is 5, and then the final one perhaps goes right up to 30. Okay, so the final statement that I would put on something like this is: a car speeds up at a constant rate from a slower initial speed. So as time goes on, it gets faster and faster, and you must try and use those some keywords there. So speeds up and initial speed, and speed is really what it's all about. So you must mention what the variable is, and if we have the numbers and the scale, then quote some examples from that. Okay, so this graph shows the height of a football as it is kicked towards the goal. So can you try and write some thoughts down and then come up with the final thing, what you think happened in this situation? So again, I will give you 5 seconds to either freeze or put some thoughts down. Okay, so I'm going to go through my thought process and the answer that I would give. Or I mean, this is actually a real 11 plus question, and there is an answer to it. So the ball increases in height, so you can clearly see it goes from 0, and just like our card diagrams previously, it goes up, but then it comes down. So the height suddenly falls. So why would it fall? The answer is it's obviously hit something, and what could it hit? It's obviously the bar. So it's hit the underside of the bar, I think, or we think. It then comes back up again. It's bounced and gone on further, and what? So sorry, this should have gone at the beginning. The ball started on the ground, and then it was kicked. So my final thought on this is that a footballer took a free kick which went in off the bar, which is what the answer is. Okay, so here's another diagram for you. So you must look at the situation, and the situation is the height of a glass of water as it is, should be drunk, but it says drank there, as it is drank. Okay, so describe what is happening and then come up with a final comment. 5 seconds. Okay, so this would be my thought process. The height starts high because the glass is full of water. The height falls as it is being drunk. The line then goes flat, so the person has decided to take a break. it then repeats the pattern, so it's happening twice. So this graph shows that a person takes two separate, well, I should say sips there, of water from this glass. So a person takes two separate drinks of a glass of water. Okay, so now you're being asked to draw, so you need to be able to sketch a graph based on information given, and the information that's given is the heat of a car engine on a journey to work. So what's your thought process and what is the diagram going to look at? So again, I'll give you 5 seconds so that you can pause the video and think about it and draw the diagram. 5 seconds. Okay, so it will obviously start from 0. It will increase as the journey starts and obviously reach a peak. Okay, and obviously it stays there because that's the temperature that you want, and then it will fall again at the end of the journey as you are coming home or because you have turned it off. Alright, so that is what that diagram would look like. Okay, so here's another chance, or here's another question asking you to sketch something, and here the situation is that it will show a security light's brightness as it flashes continuously. Okay, so the keyword there is it flashes, so that means it would be off at certain points and then on again very quickly. Okay, so those are the clues that I'm going to give you. So you're going to think about what is going to happen and then try to draw. One more clue, obviously if it's going to flash then it's going to occur on more than one occasion, so perhaps sketch it 2 or 3 times on the diagram. Okay, 5 seconds to consider that. Okay, so this is my thought process. The light will be off to start off with because it hasn't been switched on. When it flashes, its brightness goes up at a very fast rate, and then it falls quickly as well, obviously, because it's going to be turned off. So it's going to stay on for a short while because you are flashing, and then it's turned off. Okay, and as I say, the pattern is going to repeat itself. Okay, are you ready for what we think it'll look like? There we go. Okay, so it's totally off to begin with, and it's switched on, and obviously the brightness takes a short while to reach the full, and then to turn it off it takes a few seconds as well. So at the top there's a little bit of a lull, and then it's turned off, and of course the brightness goes down at the same rate as it came on. So as I say, you need to put that in at least twice, if not 3 times, which is what I've done to get the full mark. So here you were asked to draw the diagram of the situation, and this is what it would look like. Okay, that's the end of the session, but as always I've thought of 2 for you to draw, to interpret. So bear in mind the information that we've looked at, the thought process, and see what you can come up with for each of these diagrams. So in diagram 1, we have 2 variables, time and distance, and in diagram 2 it is time and speed. Okay, so I'll give you 5 seconds to freeze it, then I'll go through the answers. Okay, so this is my thought process and then I've got an overall at the end as well. So the vehicle has already travelled a certain distance, the vehicle travels constantly, the vehicle is stationary at the end, and the final overall, the diagram shows the distance covered by a vehicle and is stationary at the end. Okay, moving on to diagram 2. So we've got the vehicle starts from a certain speed, the vehicle speeds up, the vehicle is travelling at a constant speed, and I've got the final statement there. Overall, the diagram shows the speed of a vehicle, I've written that twice, over a certain period of time, and at the end the vehicle is travelling at a constant speed. So that's the sort of thing I do on a motorway. Once I reach the certain speed, then drive at that constant speed. So just to summarize, we have learned how to correctly interpret line graphs. We've also looked at drawing them. So the final thought on this is that you must be specific and try to use appropriate language really in describing the line graph that you have drawn. So that is the end of another presentation, viewers. I thank you for watching, and I make the plea once again, please like, share and subscribe to the channel, particularly the subscribe. Please, I can't succeed without you helping me to get subscribers, or you subscribing if you haven't done so already. So look after yourselves, look after others. Until the next time, goodbye. अपना ख्याल रखना, दूसरों का ख्याल रखना, दुआओं में याद रखना। अल्लाह हाफिज़।